constant noise. It hits you.
Rituals and practices.
Five Nights at Freddy's.
Welcome everyone to the Walls with Eyes podcast, where we always go full eyeballs to the wall. We are joined by Tyler today, once again. We are doing another conspiracy special. Today we're going to be talking about the Reptilians. Oh yeah. We were just watching an episode of Ancient Aliens, getting into the Reptilians.
It's kind of crazy. I mean, there's no evidence really supporting,
Yeah, I mean...
I was doing research on it, dude. I didn't see anything supporting anything, really.
Yeah.
But there's all these large figures and, the Google images you can find of the people with the baggy skin with the mask over.
Yeah.
It's quite entertaining, honestly.
There's so much lore that goes into it, too. Like, the idea that they live underground. They have secret villages underground.
and they're like a scaly...
Yeah.
Oh, it's crazy.
It's weird to imagine something like that. Like, a race of people living underground. They don't have sunlight, obviously, since they're underground.
And that's another thing about the reptilian people. It's like, if they live underground, aren't reptiles cold fucking blooded?
Yeah, they are.
Right? So they need the sun.
Oh, yeah.
So what are they doing underground where it's like 60 degrees and cold all the time? Because wouldn't they be very lethargic?
Yeah, that doesn't even really make sense.
What good is a lethargic reptilian? You're not going to infiltrate the country being lethargic.
True,
you got to be energetic.
Yeah.
They stay out in the sun. See, that's one of the things the reptilians are pushing on us. They live underground. Yep. Doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
On that note, we're going to do some drinking, guys.
All right.
We got some Disaronno and Dr. Pepper. We get the cup poured up.
But yeah, it's weird that it doesn't even really work as a concept of... Because what would humans be like if they lived underground without the sun?
It'd
be like something. I mean, they'd be all pale.
I don't feel like you'd be scaly. You'd be pale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'd be like zombies, kind of. Like pale zombies.
You have the perfect wine in your cup?
Oh, yeah.
Which is nice. I'll add a little bit more wine. Well, we just damn, get a lot of it.
This is going to be a lot.
So, I mean, the thing about Disaronno is it's not 80 proof.
Oh, I see.
It's a let's read it. The world's favorite Italian liqueur. It's a cherry liqueur. It's only 28%. Mm-hmm. So it's what is that? 60 fucking proof, It's not super strong. 50-something percent.
That seems like
50 proof.
Yeah, that'd be a good
mild
one to take shots out of some shit.
Dude, it's super mild. Take just a little tiniest sip before you mix anything in there. If you want, you can chase it down with this.
No, that's good.
It's good as fuck. You can just, straight sip it. It's super clean.
Yeah.
No burn. Anything.
Yeah.
It's super clean.
The cherry is really good. I was gonna say, it could easily be, if it wasn't good, it'd be like cough syrup.
Yeah, it's kind of
fake. But it has
more
that
cough syrupy tasting than it is alcohol.
Well, it has but it has a real cherry taste. That's what I think.
It does. It doesn't have that fake cherry flavor. Yeah. It tastes like maraschino cherry juice.
Oh yeah.
That's what it tastes like to me.
Totally, yeah.
So on that note of us getting distracted by me being slightly alcoholic, it's okay though. We'll drink after work with the boys talking about reptilians.
So maybe we should check out this one on Vice. I haven't seen this, but I know David Icke. He's one of the biggest reptilian guys out there.
He's a reptilian, dude?
Well,
Fuck, dude. We've already cracked the code. We found the first reptilian, dude. And he's on Vice.
I mean, he kind of does look like a reptilian. but
You see, I was born November
he's the biggest
22nd,
exposure.
the anniversary
I
of John
guess,
F. Kennedy's
apparently.
assassination.
So it's
And every
just-
year on my birthday, there's been televised specials on practically every channel talking about.
Let's get into it, man.
bullets,
Let's
grassy
dive into that
murders,
420
total
time.
shooters, as well
Oh,
as
yeah.
CIA, FBI, and mafia involvement. Even by the age of 10, this spoke to me. And of course, there were UFOs, the Illuminati, occult Nazis, organized satanic networks, fake moon landings, and serial
Organized
killings.
satanic networks. That is a
Even if this is all
whole
bullshit,
conversation right
it's
there.
fun to read about.
for oh my.
Oh yeah.
Especially considering like me and you are good enough friends, and like you're way more religious than I am.
Yeah.
And like that's kind of what I like, and I feel like we work together well on like things
Yeah.
like this because
Totally.
it's two different viewpoints without us having to argue about it.
Yeah, exactly.
And we're,
Yeah, that's-
able to talk about shit. I like that.
Yeah, that's
You know?
even
It was
like
in
my goal of
2000
the
that I first
podcast
discovered
too. It's
David
like
Icke
I said in the
the biggest
introduction.
I watched it. I liked
yeah,
it. I watched
yeah,
it.
to
And
bridge
it's
gaps. Yeah.
The hidden hand
It's
manipulating
about
humanity's destiny through the
having an
shadows,
open mind
using those who
Yeah,
seem to
exactly.
have
and
power.
seeing something through somebody else's eyes without judgment. You know what I mean? I'm totally down to learn new things, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
even if it's not me
Yeah.
learning something, it's me learning something about somebody else, which I like.
So we took a
Yeah,
ferry to the
I
Isle
feel
of
the
Wight to
same
spend
way.
the day with
Yeah.
David Icke, Britain's leading
I don't even know who David Icke is.
and the one man standing
Yeah,
between
he's-
us and total
He's the
enslavement.
biggest.
Hey,
The biggest.
Yes,
loser.
right.
Nice to meet you.
Loser man there.
This guy?
Yeah.
Welcome
Well,
to my
he
abode.
talks about
Nice
him a
to
lot.
see.
He's really
But I
into
like it.
conspiracy behind.
What we got here?
Well, this is things that I've collected over the years. This is fantastic. Someone in Hawaii actually painted this. This is what the painting is. This is the original of the front cover of my last book, Human Race Get Off Your Knees, The Lion Sleeps No More. And I asked my great friend, Neil Haig, to paint this picture for me, particularly those eyes. And that's humanity saying, no more, enough. No more little me, we're not having it anymore.
I do like that.
In
painting. That is a
1991,
cool
David Icke
painting.
didn't believe in
That
secret
looked really
shapeshifters
cool.
and fascists.
It
He was a television celebrity.
was like multiple
After
images
arthritis
inside
had
of each
ended a
other.
promising career in football, he'd become a broadcaster. But that
Alright,
all ended in
cut into the
one
video.
appearance on the Terry
Yeah,
Reid
cut
show.
into the
Yeah,
video.
let's get into.
In a turquoise tracksuit, he'd announced that he was the son of God, and the world would be ending that year. It didn't, and Ike seemed destined to disappear beneath the typhoon of public laughter.
Fuck. Come on.
It's quite you know, 2,000 years ago.
You need a good mouse pad, man.
Yeah, that's the problem. I'm receiving my laugh. I can't even. I don't even know where my mouse is right now.
They're laughing at
There he
you.
is.
They're not
There
The
we
old
go.
fucking wiggle, dude, that gets it every time. It's the way to go.
But I've seen enough.
There we
and
are,
heard enough
sitting down and talking.
stuff. And then I came across.
Let's get.
There were people.
For fans.
Okay.
He's still making startling revelations, and recently he declared the moon to be a hollowed-out planetoid space station from which our minds are controlled. The lizard's very...
Oh, dude, and we got some crazy pictures of the moon tonight.
Yeah, we
and
literally
like
just
we're
took a
outside,
picture. And it was
Dude.
wobbly. The moon was wobbly. It was not
so-
perfectly round.
I got like
NASA tells us.
I got like fucking 50 pictures, I would say, of the moon with the same phone, just taking pictures of it. It takes pretty good pictures. I'm proud of it.
Yeah.
I took a picture at night as we were out there just chilling, kind of spitballing what we were going to talk about on tonight's podcast. And well, when I took a picture of the moon, man, it was not round. It was oblong shaped and all potato like.
Yeah.
It was really weird. I
It was-
wonder
Yeah.
it's never
yeah.
going to work. But hold
I was
on.
wondering, like, is NASA photoshopping the moon just to look like it's a perfect circle? Just to kind of like, I don't know why they would do that. But does it make more sense that a planet would be kind of wobbly like that? Doesn't that just kind of make more sense? I don't know. Why would it be
This
perfect?
is never going to show up on the camera. You can kind of see it.
Kinda.
It's so oblong and not round whatsoever. It's
Yeah.
so crazy.
Maybe you could send me the picture and then I'll edit.
Yeah, I'll send it to
edit
him.
it in and then show the picture like on the screen.
Yeah.
Full HD. But yeah.
That's what we'll do.
Yeah.
And I'll send other
Don't
pictures.
mention the reptiles.
Yeah.
We'll have a little fucking
Yeah.
montage of them.
Because there
Yeah.
were people
See
when it
what's
started to come
different.
in, people who
Compare
were kind of
them.
into
Because
my
they always
stuff,
say you can only see one
up
side
to
of the
that
moon.
point, which
Oh
is-
yeah.
And we were talking about that, dude.
Exactly,
Like,
yeah.
I don't believe that you can only see one side of the moon. Because the fact that we're rotating, I mean, wouldn't the moon be rotating as well?
Right.
A little
Yeah.
bit?
I don't really
And
get that either. Why would we not see the other side of the moon?
I still think it's like possibly connected to the conspiracy theory and I'm not saying it is, but it could be, that we landed on the moon and Buzz Aldrin planted the flag. Well, one good way to negate people saying, well, we don't see it, and this has been around for a minute, this is pre-thought. It's pre-planned. That you can't see it because you only can ever see one side of the moon. There you go, dude. Conspiracy theory numero uno, starting it off. It's fun.
Yeah.
It's wild, man.
Yep. That's
Oh.
a perfect explanation.
It was kind of
Crazy.
regular fight. Well, it's a bit strange that it was all the way that was manipulated by a few people, but it was all kind of regular stuff. And then I came across with this stuff, and it was
Get
like,
it out of the way.
don't
early
mention
on.
the reptiles. They'll just laugh at you again. I said, I know, but I've seen enough and heard enough to believe that it's real, and so I say it. I don't care
Pause.
about the quantum.
See, and it's funny to see people like this that are so sure,
Yeah, yeah.
and at least come out as saying, there is no doubt in my mind whatsoever,
Right.
on my life, I've seen this.
Yeah.
But yet again, there's no real proven photographic
True.
evidence.
True.
And it's photographic evidence is the one thing, like even with Sasquatch, you see,
Yeah.
there's all this fake films and things like that have been
yeah.
broke down
Yeah.
and proven to be fake, but there's not a whole lot of videos
I mean,
of that
yeah.
you can see other than that I've seen so far of people with the mask on and the
Oh,
loose
yeah.
skin around the neck and like the baggy,
oh,
you
yeah,
know.
Totally.
Other than that, like, how
I've-
many pictures have you seen, like, Reptilian Man, that you're like, that kind of,
Yeah.
we got to dive into that.
I mean, I wonder, it is what he's trying to prove. It are physical reptilian beings that you could take a photograph of, for example. That's
Yeah.
what I kind of wonder. Is that the only way that things exist? In like a complete kind of like verifiable. Oh, that's sick.
Tonight's podcast
Yeah,
fueled by
yeah.
my Dr. Dabber.
Right.
We don't own the rights to that. We're gonna smoke some Slurricane. We'll just say the strain, not even the brand. We
Yeah,
got some Q-tips, trusty Q-tips. Got to keep the dabber clean. Got to be bougie, like I like to be, which is always nice. As I'm talking about being bougie, I did not bring a pick. And I was
yeah.
already smoking with a friend earlier today,
Oh, you're using
and I just
the
ripped a
broken
Q-tip in half.
Damn.
I was just using the other side, and it's been working.
I mean, I guess if it
There's
works.
a dog hair on it.
Oh,
I blame spaghetti. It's
Probably
probably a
could
cat hair.
use mine.
Oh, this guy's actually got a pick. I'm at
Yeah.
somebody's house now. Oh, look at him use a pick. Maybe since we got a metal pick, I'll break up one of these big old diamonds.
Ooh, diamonds, bro.
I brought diamonds to the party.
See that we gotta have Donovan do a diamond, bro. Because see, Donovan doesn't do
Let's see
that.
if we can get these on camera.
Donovan just smokes weed, so if we did a diamond with him,
I saw him dab every once in a while, I think.
Oh yeah,
I think he's bought some dab.
yeah. I think he did tell me he.
This is the greatest
He's
part
done
about
it
working
before,
at a
but-
dispensary. Is like, this is straight up marijuana, just extracted, and it's totally crazy that this guy right here,
Oh.
little chunker dropped to the dab gods. I was like, I don't even think we'll ever find that. It happens.
Maybe if you use a flashlight.
Fleshlight.
Flashlight.
Your kissing practicer, as you call it. I wouldn't be doing that, Jake. On that note, these things are kind of cool, dude. I got like really into them because a friend of mine, I owned a different electronic device, and I wasn't the biggest fan of it. My friend told me to try a different one out. Now I own the baby version of it and the slightly bigger one. I have the middle brother and the little brother. There's a big brother in there. It's called the Switch. That it's like big as hell. It's oversized though. It's like some stuff that you would chill at home with, and it's like $400 or $500 depending on which one you get. The bigger one I got is $300. That one's $160. Which for $160, this thing like super portable. Check this out. Like leak free, right? It's got water in it, guys. You can see a little. Look,
Shit.
water's not leaking
That's
out.
crazy. That is actually pretty crazy. That's so good for
Fucking
like
love it.
road trips or like You
Yeah,
could just
dude.
have that in your backpack and be
Just
throwing your
running.
backpack all around and
Get done running.
not have to worry. Dude, that's awesome.
Dude, keep running, dude. You know, it's pretty cool. You're an active
Apparently-
stoner. You get rid
yeah.
of that whole stereotypical, like, oh, stoners can't do that. You're gonna like sit around, dude, and like
Well,
every
but the
stoner
thing
knows,
is,
I need a dab, dude.
it does become a new stereotype, though. The new stereotype of the guy that always has his dab freak with him. You know?
I mean, that's a fair point,
Yeah.
but at least with this one, you're not the
That-
guy that has like popping the torch out,
Right.
and you're like
Right.
sitting in the corner, and there's like some 45-year-old,
Yeah.
50-year-old person that isn't of this dabbing era per se, and they're like, that guy's
Oh,
doing
yeah.
meth.
Yeah.
You don't want to be that guy. In this
Yeah.
scenario, you're like, bam,
Yep.
hold a button and start hitting. You look cool. You're like
Yep.
Gandalf up in here. Look.
Yeah. They were actually, I think they were mentioning it on the Joe Rogan podcast, him with Tim Curry, I think it was.
I didn't see that
Ryan
one.
Curry. They were talking about, they were seeing it all over.
That
oh,
was crazy.
They were seeing it all over LA. People with, I think he was talking about these or something like these. Cause he was
Yeah,
saying
there's
people
so many
taking
electronic
portable
devices.
Dab devices, yeah.
And they could have been talking about pens as well.
Oh yeah, the guy brought a pen. He had a pen that you can put.
Actual concentrate in. So
no,
Dr.
it was what you put bud in it, and it turns it into
Yeah.
vapor.
Yeah. Yeah, so the switch, the big one, there's it has two different chambers, and one's for flour and one's for, you know, vaporizing flour has been a thing for a long time. It just seems to have recently gotten popular. I don't know, I've tried it, man. I'm not a big fan of it. It's supposed to be healthier and stuff, but I feel like, personally, I just feel like every strain tastes way too similar like that. And it kind of makes all your weed taste like burnt popcorn.
Right.
I don't like burnt popcorn.
Right. Yep.
That's
Yep.
not my thing,
That's
dude.
that's what Donovan was telling me about too, about these
Yeah, this
these
guy's a lot of flavor.
pre-rolls. Pre-rolls he was getting. He was saying they taste like aquarium or something.
That's never good.
I was like,
That's never
Queer.
good. This thing goes from 475 degrees to 625 in 50 degree increments. So I can do 475, 525, 575, or 625. And it's just kind of perfect. Because the big brother of it does 600 and then 650. Like 600 sometimes with certain dabs. I want it just the teensies bit hotter, but 650 always tastes burnt. No matter what it is, always tastes burnt. 625 is that perfect little medium. And I love that they threw that in there.
oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
that is really cool.
5 clicks to turn it on, dude.
All right.
Right? And my temperature set. All you gotta do is hold it. It vibrates. And it's just gonna sit here and heat for me.
All right. Let's get back into this.
He closest to me. Are you frightened? No, I'm not. I don't care. Because the consequences for the world and my children and my grandchildren and everyone else's of humans not intervening in this process that's going on now ever more quickly, are that we are condemning our children and grandchildren, indeed ourselves. It's that close to a world that George Orwell so massively understated.
Can we have a look at where the work gets
Yes.
done, where
Like
it
everything-
all happens?
So, just based on what he said there, it sounds like what he's talking about more than reptilians. He's talking more about this, like the structure of the government and the higher ups and their agendas. And so, like, I almost feel like reptilians are like a way of representing that, like, vibe or something.
Like
representing that ideology, maybe. Of
Representing like
gaining power over humans and
what's the word I'm looking for? You know, like Putin, right?
like Putin.
You know, and I mean,
right, totally.
not
He's-
just
like,
to
you
bring
could
him
say-
up just for that, but like what the.
Yeah.
See,
Like,
this
when-
is why you
imagine-
can't totally dab too hard on diamonds because my brain went blank. But that whole like dictatorship, right?
Oh, yeah.
Where like you rule until you die, and when you
Right.
die, your fucking air takes over,
Right.
and
And it just goes on as a
it's
cycle.
kind of crazy, dude.
Just a repeating cycle. So maybe like when someone says, "Oh, Putin's a reptilian," it's like a way of categorizing,
Dude.
like
This is
putting
awful.
him in that category of he's behind this whole thing that's going on, and it's something that you can't really exactly, like, I don't know. It's like we use metaphors and we use symbols as a way to represent, like, vibes.
Symbols, and on that, like, I was doing research while I was outside having a smoke break earlier.
Yeah.
And this gentleman, and like, I don't want to say it was like the 80s. I could totally be wrong. But he was a police officer, and I'll have to get his name. I'll do some research on my phone when we watch this. I'll get his name. We'll look him up. He claims to have been, like, abducted, and he didn't, like, know that he was abducted. Like, here's the weird thing, right? And that's why it's so hard to find, like, good, solid evidence on, like, reptilians actually being seen or whatever.
Right.
Because this one reputable source that they have, and I mean, only reason he's reputable is because he's a police officer. Let that be known that I do support police officers, but just because you're a cop doesn't mean you're an honest person at all.
True that.
You should be, but it does not mean that, and it's been proven. So on that side note, back to track here, I digress. He claims to have been experiencing weird dreams and things of that nature, so he went to, like, a psychiatrist hypnosis type guy.
Oh.
And he was put under, he was, like, hypnotized, right? When he was hypnotized,
those are pretty
that's
sketchy.
when he has the memories of being abducted. He's like, I regained these memories, and, like, while I was hypnotized, I remembered being pulled up in this beam, and when I was inside of there, at the time, everybody was like, that was calling out, hey, I got abducted, was saying it was gray aliens, the classic little alien feature, right? Well, he claimed that they were scaly, reptilian-like, and that they looked military style, and that most of them had this thing on their chest that was like a serpent with wings that looked like a military symbol, right? And, like, the crazy part and why it was so, like, I guess, thrown off to the side, is because the hypnotist, you know what I mean? But at the same time, that could have helped him tap into a repressed memory, but it could have also been pressed into his head. So, and it's like, that's the crazy thing.
Well, yeah. Well, I wonder how is it possible for someone to implant such a, like, intricate
deep
memory
thought, and, with all
someone's
this
head?
detail.
That seems like such a weird, like, because,
it seems like excessive amounts of things, yes.
And I gotta say,
Detail is too much.
just the way we remember things in general is a weird process, and it's not we don't remember everything. For example, like, there's things we don't remember because they didn't mean anything, and then we remember other things because they meant something more to us. So our memory is kind of dependent on what we find
our memory
meaningful.
picks and chooses what we want to remember and actually put away and store for later use. On that note of, like, pictured memory through traumatic experiences or, say, an injury. I was in a big mountain bike crash on, like, a road. I was just on a mountain bike on, like, a paved road, and I did not have a helmet on. And, like, the bike flipped over, and I smacked my head on the pavement pretty good. And it knocked me out and bashed my face into the ground. My teeth came through my front lip.
Oh, damn.
My whole face was shredded up.
I feel like I kind of remember that. Didn't I?
Yeah. I can't fully remember, still to this day, exactly what was happening for the last 24 hours leading up to that. Like, it just knocked it out of my memory.
Oh, wow.
And then, like, the only real images, and they're, like, almost straight up images that almost appear in my head, like shutter images. When you put your camera on shutter mode, and it takes, like, 5-6 images or way more, whatever you set it to. I'll get these pictures in my head of, like, kind of walking home, my head down, and just my hand filling up with a bunch of blood and, like, spitting it out. Like, I just remember, like, images of that and, like, looking down and just feeling, like, so discombobulated, and confused.
That's scary.
And, like, yeah, dude, like, honestly, like, that was one of the scariest things that's happened to me. And I've had a lot of experiences. I've chopped off the tip of my thumb before, which maybe have to get a picture of that one of these days. I got a pretty good picture of it at the hospital. I tried to chop this finger off, my pointer finger. I've been through a lot of things.
That's for sure.
I got shot in the leg with a pellet gun. Almost died. Almost hit my femoral artery in my leg. I've had I mean, I got in a dirt bike crash and broke like almost every rib in my body.
Yeah.
So
I gotta admit.
I've been jacked up before, dude, and that bike crash is still one of the worst things ever happened to me, man.
Yeah, I gotta admit, I haven't been through a lot of serious injuries or anything.
I like how
I
this
remember
podcast has turned to personal
I know.
things. It's better.
Totally, yeah, it is. Yeah, but I think I sprained I don't know if I broke it or sprained it
Oh.
when I was in like middle school. I was just like up on this. We were, those like those big metal soccer goals. That would be
Yeah,
like
the
in
goalpost.
Yeah, exactly. We were like flipping that over, and
Oh,
like,
yeah. We used to do that too.
Yeah.
Was it at Pioneer?
Yep, it was.
Oh
at
my
Pioneer,
God,
yeah.
dude.
That was so fun
See,
too.
you gotta love growing up in the same place.
Yeah. Yep, we were flipping it over, and I remember I was holding on to the bottom of it, and when it flipped to the top, it was just like I let go right when I got up there, and then I fell, and then my arm just happened. It just landed in the perfect spot, right on the bar, just like right on the metal. Just oh, it was so painful, man.
I feel you there.
Yeah,
That sounds painful.
I
as
just
hell.
started, I remember I was like crying. The principal came and like carried me.
Mr. Kovac.
Yeah, Mr. Kovac.
That's terrible,
the,
dude.
The diaper.
The diaper man. That mother. Oh, that guy. No way that man didn't have a diaper
Right.
on. Okay.
I just love.
And the messed up part is like,
remember
as soon as he said he was carrying you off, like that dude was a big guy. He had some mitts on him,
Oh, yeah.
right? So I'm sure he just like
Yep.
Shrek'd you
Yeah,
up.
he did. I remember it just came out of nowhere. I was like,
He was
in
a big
daze.
dude.
I was in a daze, just like crying, and then I'm just lifted up and just
Man
being
might have wore a
carried, like,
diaper,
oh,
but
where am I going?
He probably did some bodylifting or something in fucking,
Yeah.
High
Like
school
I
or something. He was
yeah.
a big dude.
Yeah,
He really was. But he was like the nicest guy ever. He had
Yeah, he
like
was-
not a whole
yeah.
lot of attitude to him.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know, because like my parents went in there and like, my parents are mean, man. He never once really tried to cop much attitude with him. He was, and that was probably also in a professional sense, which is,
Right.
honestly really good.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Because
That's
I work with people, and you deal with some people that I'm just nice as I can be, and I'll sit there and I'll talk to them for a while.
Right.
But it's the worst, dude.
Yeah.
Like, especially like I even had like the most. You get racist old dudes. That's the big one, and it's not just like 40, 50, 60. It's like you get like the 70 plus older folks in there, and they'll say some racist stuff, dude, and like just look at you and like you can't really like
right.
call them out.
Yeah.
Corporate don't like it. They're like, just push the sale.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, I gotta nod this off and be like, see you next time. Like, bro, hopefully next time you don't talk. Like,
Yeah.
there's times these things are felt. But
Yeah.
on that note,
I mean, I wonder if that's
I'm always happy to serve.
Yeah, I wonder if that's always how it's been. Just like the old people kind of like have.
you think the old people that I'm talking about, like being racist now, is what you're
Right.
saying? Like back when they were our age,
Oh, right.
they were like,
It was
man,
like a different level.
but maybe it wasn't race. It was some,
Yeah, it was
that's-
something else.
Think
Some
of the
other-
struggle they received.
Right.
Oh, it's crazy.
Yeah. It is.
You gotta think, man.
Yeah.
I feel like we should move on
Yeah. Honestly,
from this subject with the
the
reptilians.
reptilians are kind of.
I mean,
I mean, they're really interesting though. And it is just a whole kind of
Let's see.
a whole different discussion about, like demons and how they could portray themselves in different ways and stuff. I think that's even kind of like when we were watching, what was it? That music video, Paranormal Species.
Oh yeah.
That's kind of what my dad was talking about in that music video too. Was like saying like
That was just
so
on
many
the-
different costumes to choose from. Like I feel like the reptilians. That is kind of what they are.
Children's Clarity,
You know what?
the 24
You gotta love ads.
Oh, yeah. Maybe we should just watch this music video on here. Show everyone.
Yeah, yeah. Put your dad's music video on here, dude.
Yeah.
There's a lot of creativity went into that.
True. Yeah.
There's a message in those lyrics.
Yep. Yep.
It's something you gotta listen to. It's food for thought, you know, and
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
a lot of our generation nowadays really needs that. You know,
Right.
whether they like it or not, they need that kind of food for thought.
Yeah, totally.
They need to be, you know,
Because it's like, it's not something they talk about in school or anything. It's not. It's kind of on the. There it is.
this is heating up and it vibrates. You're ready to go.
All right.
Maybe don't hit it very hard. We were doing perfect last time.
This isn't the Chupacabra reminded her Swaralian. No, this is something new. This is something that reminds me of the Mothman stories. Point Pleasant. How the Mothman is scared the living daylights out of me because when I'm in the dark, I wouldn't want two big red eyes staring at me from the window, tapping on the window. And then I look up and I see something hunched over with big wings, or a flying demon, or something. I don't want that anywhere near me.
What are these creatures that so confound us from the Mothman?
I like how we're just getting ripped listening to this. I know. I was thinking about that. I was like,
Legendary icons like monster
tastes so
mascots, the Loch Ness monster, the Jersey Devil, creepy shadow people that'll make you tremble, paranormal species on every level. When they're unleashed, it's like transcendental. We haven't even started with the alien question, not to mention the fact they meet expectations. Observer effect is that spooky action in electron, photon, quantum reaction. So often they appear as what people imagine. To fit their beliefs is how they're fashioned. The time and the culture from which they're choosing. So many costumes from which to choose from. Hovering like vultures with black-eyed vision. Scavenging on carcasses who give permission. Open to inviting every superstition. Tapped in and tuned to receive transmissions. Division flipped into a virtual reality. Dimensions whip here, the buzzing like a bumblebee. Suddenly gripped with the fear that's unexplainable. Have you been tricked? It's so weird, it's unmistakable. What are these creatures that so confound us from Mothman? Into the Chupacabra is the Bigfoot. The so-called Sasquatch. Legendary icons like monster mascots. The Loch Ness monster, the Jersey Devil. Creepy shadow people that'll make you tremble. Paranormal species on every level. When they're unleashed, it's like transcendental. Subtle with their schemes, these are spiritual beings.
I think that's Ryder.
With three-dimensional teams.
This was me and Ryder.
That's fulfilling your dreams. Raise your wishes just to rip your soul apart of the seams. Like the Slender Man's become the boogeyman of the past. Let's go back in
Oh, yeah,
time
right
and see
here.
what kind of creatures were cast. The first aliens claimed they lived in clouds on the skies. Then we got telescopes and realized that they lied. They were Quakers on the moon, the little green men. Gray aliens, insectoids, and reptilians. The fairies and the elves, leprechauns and the trolls. The goblins and the gnomes, the same stories told. Spirit apparitions, every specter and ghost. It's the same allegory from the days of old. We see through their mask and despite the disguise, we recognize the species by the shape of their lies. Imprisoned in chains, in the days they hybridized. Now their vision has changed and they wanna mechanize. They're making a decision to now pose as AI. Possessing our computers and the robots they guide. Inventing their beliefs to create the divide. And implanting the seeds for a global genocide. Pretending that technology is really alive. Like computer Ouija boards with the demon inside. What are these creatures that so confound us?
Pretty good.
it's pretty good, dude.
The so-called Sasquatch. Legendary icons like monster mascots. The Loch Ness monster, the Jersey Devil. Creepy shadow people that'll make you tremble. Paranormal species on every level. When they're unleashed, it's like transcendental.
When I'm looking into subjects that really scare me, we have to go back far. Really, really far. To dig up some of the scariest creatures, scariest instances of sightings and appearances. I mean, you know, we all know, man has had his encounters with fallen angels.
Those goddamn diamonds hit hard.
Oh yeah, dude.
So, do you want to talk about the video and,
Yeah.
and some of the lyrics?
Yeah.
So,
yeah, go ahead.
I like the part where he's like talking about recognizing their lies and
Right.
things like that and the global genocide.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
just what I said, dude. When it's like food for thought for our generation.
Yeah, totally.
It's like
totally.
if half the kids our age were to pick up a book, were to look into it. And here's the thing, like, let me throw this in there. I don't know if I ever told you this, but like, with me not being super religious, I went to church for 2 or 3 years as a kid.
Oh, you did?
Like, I went to church, I read the Bible, I remembered the 10 Commandments, I remembered everything. Like, I did all that stuff. Like,
Yeah.
it just wasn't for me. It wasn't something that I was into. Now, it's not something that I'm against other people being into.
Yeah.
You know, open your mind, let other people have their own experiences.
Right.
That's what part of our country is.
Yeah.
Is free thought and free will. As
Yeah.
long as what you're doing isn't harming me, you go ahead and do it, man.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's how we can move towards a better, less polarized society. Is if like we do exactly what you're talking
Less
about.
cancel culture.
Just yeah,
se.
exactly. Cancel culture is the biggest,
You know,
the
and
biggest
it's
enemy to that in a way.
because everybody feels triggered about everything.
Yeah.
When you got to realize other people have opinions, and you have to be
Yeah.
adult enough to understand that
Exactly.
and view their opinions.
Yeah.
That's why there's
And most of the time,
Different stuff.
what I see, and it doesn't even matter which culture you look at. A lot of I always find that there's always a reason why, or at least what I see, there seems to always be a reason why a story or like a pattern of stories continues over time and doesn't just get swept under the rug. Because there's a lot of ancient things, like ancient stories, like you could say the Greek gods, all that just
which
kind
I'm
of
super
aren't.
into mythology.
Yeah, they are.
Dude,
and
that
yeah,
stuff's amazing.
they're totally interesting. Yeah, but they haven't really. They didn't really last. I guess they're not. It's not like a commonly. I don't know. Like there's some stories that seem to kind of go on, and some stories that seem to.
Here's
just
my thing.
Get.
I'm less religious and more kind of like spiritual, not like
Right.
hippie like.
Yeah.
You know, I do believe there's something beyond us. I don't know if it's something that made us,
Yeah.
you know, but, and I will say this, you can't prove religion is real, but I can't prove religion is fake.
Right.
There's no
Man.
proving it right or wrong.
Yeah.
It's all about faith.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
and what somebody chooses to put their faith in is up to them. You know, it's
Yeah.
what helps that person, you know, what's the old saying, whatever helps you sleep at night?
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah.
That's my thing.
And well, me and Zen were looking on TikTok that there's always these TikTok lives that people are doing where it's like they're saying that exact thing. They're like, you can't prove to me that God doesn't exist, and then another one's saying you can't prove God exists, and they're just going back and forth. I'm like, what is this really doing?
They're both true, and you got a point. What are you really doing with this?
Yeah, it's just
It's
like
just a
what is the
never-ending
goal?
argument.
Yeah, it's like you can tell the goal is something more like they're just trying to, like, I don't know, get some kind of satisfaction out of arguing with people. I mean, I can't think of any other reason why you would just kind of go out with a blank statement like that. I think I'd much rather, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I think conversations are so much better than debates. Like,
Me too. It should.
and I used to listen to debates all the time, like in the past.
You know, debates are fine. It's just
Yeah.
debates have evolved from being a well-mannered conversation with factual points being provided from both sides in a calm manner.
Right, right,
Whereas nowadays, these things have escalated into
right.
they're not just a regular conversation. It's two sides arguing who can be the loudest, who can blame one side for the most things, and it's a lot of finger pointing.
True. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. In a way, like, yeah. I mean, we can't even really have debates anymore because there's the one side, the left, the insane left, that just kind of tries to shut down any opinion that doesn't go with. I mean, it's
what
just
their
crazy.
ideology
Yeah.
is. And
It's
you know,
insane.
I read this thing and I thought it was quite funny. There was this liberal, leftist to say, news reporter, and they had dressed up to say, was kind of the words they had used. They kind of dressed up in more right wing style things and
Yeah.
had a Trump sign and things like that. And within 15 minutes of posting up with the signs, they were assaulted by a group of liberals
Wow.
while trying to prove that liberal ideology doesn't include violence and that the right wing, side and the Republican side is the violent side. And I'm not saying I support either side in this situation, but it's just ironic and funny. You see these things where one side tries to prove something and then just backfires so hard. And it's their point is gone now.
Yeah.
Let's take a short break and
Yeah.
come back.
All right. Yeah.
Get some more content.
So guys,
We'll look it up too.
Truman theory.
The Truman Theory, guys. We're just we're going off the idea that what is it, the Truman Show,
Yep.
right, with Jim Carrey, I believe it is, right? So he's living in an altered world where everything is catered to him and where everything is kind of like set up around him.
Yeah,
And it's a
yeah.
fake environment.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So like
Yeah.
let's talk about that like as a
Yeah.
world in like a Matrix type setting,
Right,
like
right.
along with our last podcast, the Andrew Tate
Right.
subject, right?
Yeah.
With Andrew Tate,
What is-
he's talking about the Matrix.
Yeah,
So what are your thoughts on
exactly.
that, man?
So the idea that everything around us is like made up like a story in a way. Like,
Altered AI image.
Yeah.
You know.
That, man, I mean, it's a weird idea, and
So have you seen the Matrix movies?
yeah, I've seen the first one.
Oh,
I don't
man.
think I saw it all of
Dude,
it, though. I think I
They
started
are
watching it at Zen's
amazing
house.
movies, dude.
Yeah.
So the Matrix movies are amazing, and it like kind of gives you this idea, especially through the second one and everything, of this like robot-controlled society where we're already kind of doing the same thing we normally do, where people are, or it seems like at least, where people are doing normal things where they would in this society, but
Right.
it's being controlled and everything around them without them realizing, and without being so catered
Right.
to them, right?
Right.
Just being fake,
Yeah.
and
So
so many people in like a, almost kind of like a virtual headset, but it's like you're in a deep sleep, right?
yeah.
You're what's the term?
Virtual
Like a hyperstasis?
hyperstasis.
Is that the word?
when you're in a coma kind of
Almost.
state where you're
Yeah.
like,
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
I
a
think
coma
I know
kind
what
of
you're
state,
talking
and they
about,
got you
yeah.
all wired up. You're in the little
Have-
jelly tub.
yeah. Have
Yeah,
you
dude.
heard of those? What are they called? What are they? Ice chamber, or they're called the
Cryo chambers.
cryo chambers.
That's
yeah.
what I was
Heard
trying to
that?
think of too. It's cryo, like when you're in a cryo sleep, right? When you see in all these movies, and there's all these theories on top of that these movies are just suggesting things that have already happened or are going to happen. It's kind of like with The Simpsons. How have they predicted so many things that are going to happen unless they already knew that it was going to happen?
Oh, yeah.
It
Yeah.
just proves into that Matrix theory
Yeah.
that everything's being molded around you, and you're just not realizing it.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
You've been taking the blue pill it is for too long. You're
Right. And
you're
then
just
you
asleep to it.
Yeah. No, yeah. I think that's actually most people. Most people are asleep to the things that are going on
Yeah.
behind the scenes. And there are some people that are awake to it. And the question is, what do we do about it? What do we do
Yeah.
about the fact that we're awake with it? Because a lot of people, it can drive a lot of people crazy. I mean, that's the stereotypical crazy conspiracy theorist where
Yeah, the old foil
they've
hat.
realized a lot of things that are actually true, but it drives them crazy because
Well, and maybe it doesn't necessarily drive them crazy. It's that everybody views them as crazy because that's how the media is
yeah.
going to portray them.
oh yeah,
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's an altered image again.
Yeah.
So
No, yeah, that's true.
It all leads back to altered images.
Yeah.
The wall of eyes
Yeah.
that's always watching, the all-watching eye.
Big Brother. Yeah.
I don't.
that
You know
is.
what they say? Big brothers are always bullies. Look up Billy Carson. We're living in a matrix written on mathematics called. I think that'll be a good video.
Yeah.
It's short and sweet. What is it, like 9 minutes or something? Something short and sweet to kind of just throw the theory that we're talking about, out there and kind of give us a little pitch idea. And then after we're done with this, we got to discuss the flat Earth theory of people that think the Earth
We're
is
in the
flat.
third dimension.
As we're talking
Yes.
about the moon
We
earlier.
tend to not understand is that time really doesn't exist. Clocks exist.
Exactly. So there's just day
Big
and
time
night.
mainstream quantum physicists and theoretical physicists are admitting that this is true now.
It's crazy.
We've been given this functional arrow of time, which puts us in one specific direction, so that we can organize our thoughts and our days and our years and weeks and what we're going to do and what we're going to meet up with somebody and everything else. So we have this ability to coordinate and collaborate with each other. However, if you understand that time is also an illusion, it's something that you can use as a tool, but if you also understand that it's an illusion, then you can actually master time and you can maximize what you're doing on this planet. Because if you go in all the higher dimensions, we're in the third. So if you draw a line on a piece of paper, that's the first dimension. If you then connect those lines and create a house on a piece of paper, that's a two-dimensional structure, or you can move that into a computer. Anything you see in a computer that looks 3D is actually 2D. And because we're in the third, we can see down into 2D, we can see all the way down, obviously, into 1D, and we can manipulate those dimensions from our higher self. Now, there are beings in fourth, fifth, and sixth dimensions. There's people above us. Because of that, they see us, and they recognize the past, present, and future operating all at the same time. Everything's happening at once.
That's a crazy
There is no
theory, dude.
separation
That
between-
completely
Wait.
makes sense.
That's a
So-
crazy theory too, because it's been proven, like Einstein's theory of relativity, if you look into it, and black holes, and he wrote this way before that, and it kind of leads into the same thing, that there's multiple timelines at any given moment with any possibility happening, and possibly in different dimensions.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. So I saw someone do an experiment that this reminds me of. So on a second dimensional plane, there's like a person that has something in a box like this. So I'm just gonna like draw what they drew. It's like they have a key in a box like this,
All right.
and so I'll show it to the camera. They have a key in a box, anyways. So from his perspective, he sees the box is locked and there's no way anyone can get to the key. But since I'm in the third dimension,
You can reach down.
I
into the
yeah,
box.
exactly. I can reach into the box and
See,
take
I'm
it
already
out.
tracking what you're
Yeah,
saying.
exactly. Yeah.
That's insane.
I know that, and so it totally makes sense that a fourth dimensional being would be able to
Manipulate. us.
manipulate. Yeah, that's
in the past, present, and
man.
Maybe
see, it's
manipulate
like
the decisions you're making.
yeah. This is
So maybe
literally
free will isn't so free.
exactly. Maybe our thoughts aren't
Maybe
always our thoughts.
maybe everything is already predetermined.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Oh man.
Food for thought. I'm
Yes.
eating
Or
honey
doesn't
roasted peanuts.
exist. Because
Sorry,
they're
guys.
higher enough, they can look down into the third, and they can see into what we're doing. The fourth dimension is something called a tesseract. If you go into the ancient text, it's Metatron's cube, meta, M-E-T-A, metaverse, right? They got that from Metatron's cube. And
Where have I heard
it's
tesseract
something
before?
called quasi crystal.
Tesseract.
And this quasi crystal,
Yeah. Where have we Tesseract?
From
Sounds
Marvel.
familiar.
It's from
Oh.
Marvel. A real Marvel fan would have known that. Fuck.
in the fourth dimension, it casts a shadow, and the shadow that it casts, it creates the realm that we're living in here. We're living in a shadow of a higher dimension. And that
Right.
shadow creates a third dimension. It actually creates a fractal of it, creates this fractal holographic matrix that we're actually maneuvering in.
So every
in the third
dimension causes a lower dimension.
You can address a fourth dimension of time, like Albert Einstein was saying, if you're just looking at the third plus a fourth being the arrow. But when you actually move up into another dimension, we now know in quantum physics that there is actually a fourth dimension. So all dimensions are in 90-degree angles of each other. And according to quantum theory right now, we're really anticipating that there's at least 11 dimensions, or otherwise the universe will collapse.
That's
So
insane.
there really is truly a fourth, fifth, sixth, all the
11
way up.
dimensions.
Not just the arrow. of
That's
time.
something that I kind of wonder, like, how do we
If
know
there's
about
11
the
dimensions,
11 dimensions?
how are
I
we
don't know.
the only? And this is the thing that I think you would have to be ignorant to think, right?
Right.
Is with 11 dimensions, how would we be the only intelligent life? Right?
Right.
There has to be intelligent life elsewhere.
Yeah.
There's no way we're the
Yeah.
only intelligent life. And here's a theory I'll throw out there, and I want to see your thoughts on it. It's
Yeah.
like, so, in believing in God, right?
Yeah.
Who's to say if God created man, right?
Mm-hmm.
Say he created all these dimensions. Who's to say he didn't create different societies and different civilizations, right? Throughout these dimensions. And all these things that people see and all these deja vu is other dimensions bleeding through into our timeline.
I mean,
What are your thoughts on that?
so I think that. So, do you mean like civilizations that would be
Like
on-
reptilians and
Yeah. Okay. So they're-
aliens and, you know, the
Yeah.
Sasquatch and, you know, like
Yeah,
different
yeah,
types of
yeah.
humanoids, you know, say that he tested, you know, it's almost like in Futurama, right? Where they go to all the different worlds and there's all these
Right.
different civilizations, almost like that, but on different dimensions,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Well, yeah. I mean, dimensions. The way we experience dimensions are really weird. I think, where like the dimension. There's almost like there's a dimension to things that we don't know for sure what like they are. Things that we don't actually have. So like Sasquatch, for example, we don't have concrete evidence of Sasquatch, and like we don't have like, you know, like we do with other animals, where it's
Yep.
like it's established that like what a
like
dog
fossils
is.
or anything, you know?
Right. So it's like I feel like that in between zone, that's kind of, I think that's similar to what demons are, is that they're like, they represent the in between, the kind of hybrid creatures at the margins that we don't know what they're up to. So they could be evil, but they could, but the other side is basically, you could
Like
say,
different
an angel.
dimensions.
Like,
Is
because
like
I
a
think
good and a bad.
angels also exist.
You're saying like different dimensions are good and bad,
Right.
technically.
Right. And but it's hard to say, because I think, I mean, I don't know. The demons can be deceptive. They can, but I
That's what
think
they do.
that they come like whatever energy, whatever like voice in your head that you get that is like motivating you to become something better and to do good things. That's coming from
A
higher source.
Yeah.
And the things that are telling you that you're not worth it, that you're a terrible
Or a
person,
lower
that you
source,
should
yeah.
kill yourself. Yeah, that's all from a lower source that's trying to bring you down into hell, basically.
Ironically, on that note,
So
I got
that's like the levels.
I got a buddy that has a clothing brand. He's a religious
yeah?
guy. And his clothing brand that he started is called Higher Thinking. You know, it's in his
Yeah.
whole brand message is a higher way of thinking, more positivity, you know, in with the good and out with the bad, which I honestly
Right.
think is pretty cool.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, that's
because
awesome.
like religious or not, you know, I do think everything that happens, whether, you know, it's the predetermined like we were talking about or not, everything that happens also is part of an outlook for you. So if
Yeah.
you look at everything from a bad point of view and you only
Right.
try to view negatives,
Right.
you know, it's
It's-
gonna be negative.
Yeah.
But if you try to view positives in things, you know, you're gonna be able to at least have a better outlook, which I think changes what's gonna happen in the long run. If you
Right,
think about it
right.
positively, it's gonna make you more motivated to do a good thing.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
So it's, and you know, and so I think, you know, the things that are, like, even the people that are ahead of the Matrix, you could say, are influenced by
The
these
leaders?
beings. Yeah, they're influenced by the same beings that we're influenced by. but it's at that higher level where it's like where they have a level of power that allows them to really, you could say, like, I don't know, indulge in their evil fantasies and like all kinds of crazy stuff, like, you know, the rituals they do, like, so it's like, I think that's what demons are basically. They come in the form of like
Bad thoughts.
Yeah,
I feel you.
exactly.
I see where you're coming
it's
from.
true. Yeah.
Picking up where you're laying down. I say, on that note, we move on to flat earthers.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I think it's a fun
let's
subject.
get into that. Yeah.
Look up some flat earth.
Okay. Yeah, let's get in.
Look up some flat earth stuff. I'd actually seen a study done by this gentleman, and he was going to prove that the earth was flat, and his test actually proved
that the earth was round.
That the earth was round. It was with a laser, remember?
Yeah. I think I there it is.
There you
Flat
go.
earther accidentally proves.
You have a backup experiment. You're seeing through this hole, through the next hole, and seeing the light at the back door, 17 feet off the wall. The earth is flat. If he's holding it up to 23 feet high and we're seeing the light, well, that's because the earth's curved. So I should only be able to see it when it's at 17 feet. Okay, go ahead and throw it down and you're going to hold the light there.
Spaghetti,
what are you doing? Spaghetti!
I mean, you know, you don't see them. You can lift up your light way above your head. Interesting.
Interesting.
That was his reaction to it. Interesting.
There's no big deal.
Yep. Yeah, I think flat earthers are just kind of, they're going. I mean, I don't really know what they're trying to. So, the whole flat Earth thing.
I think it's part of the Matrix theory.
I mean, so, yeah, that kind of was what I was gonna say. Was like, when you view the Earth just like from your own experience, like you go outside, like it's a flat landscape, and then there's the sky and the sun. And the sun goes around, and then the moon goes around. It's like that's the flat Earth model, you could say. Like, it's coming from a complete experiential perspective. So it doesn't make sense that they're trying to prove it with science, because it's not in the realm of science, and it's in the realm of experience. So science is always abstracting from the human experience. You can't do science unless you like abstract from your own human experience at a certain level. You know what I mean?
Here's
like,
the thing. If Earth was flat, right?
Yeah.
Well, where is it?
I mean,
you think it's a flat plate flying through space?
It's on the ground. That's
right, but where is the ground?
Below me.
Right.
Just from an experiential perspective, like, that's the thing.
Yeah,
like,
which here's the thing though, from an experiment, like, we live in an area where there's mountains, dude.
True.
There's giant hills.
Yeah.
So the Earth is flat, but it still has terrain.
Right.
That's another odd question.
That's true, and
and
going up a hill. When you get to the top of a hill, you can see everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're above everything, and you can see way more than you can see when you're at the bottom of the hill. When you're at the bottom of the hill, it's like you have a limited perspective, you could say.
Yeah.
And when you get to the top, you have
elevation.
a higher perspective. So it's like that could be an analogy in a way of like what goes on in other dimensions, in the realm of thought, in the realm of like reaching higher places in like inside, basically. I don't know how to describe it. Like higher vibrations or something. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I don't know. It's interesting, and I think that's kind of what, like what Jesus, I think, was trying to get across. I think was trying to like help us see what it means to be like a person who is like just I don't know, just a really
I see what you're saying. Like,
seeing what a good
I mean,
person
it's
seeing
about
what it means to be a good
it's
person.
about perspective. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And things that we've already been,
Yeah.
leading up to.
Yeah.
But
But
with
I mean, I
that
don't
and
know.
the flat Earth theory,
Yeah, it doesn't really. Yeah, I don't even know how I got from that from flat Earth theory to that. But I guess flat Earth, it does have to do with it because the Bible kind of had a flat Earth model in a way, like So it's like
back in the
that,
day, they thought
yeah,
that the Earth had ends to it.
yeah,
You
and
know,
that was
they-
before the Copernican revolution. The Copernican revolution was when they finally.
Realized that there wasn't an edge to the world that was just going to fall off back.
Yeah, and also seeing and heliocentrism too, seeing the sun as the center, or I mean, not seeing the sun as, but just not seeing the Earth as the center of the universe, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was a big shift, you could say, in the consciousness of people. So, and I don't know exactly. I mean, I don't know. When I see things from an experiential perspective, I feel like there's a lot of things you can get from your intuition that that don't really make sense scientifically, but make sense intuitively. That's something like the reptilian stuff. Like I think there's a lot of people that just get it intuitively, that like
How about this?
what they're talking about.
On the flat Earth theory, what's your theory?
I think the Earth is like, if you do the science and you abstract yourself from the human experience and look at the world from that perspective, then the Earth is round. Like, and I have no problem with that, but
Right, and I think that leads back into, the science having proven that there's 11 dimensions. So if the Earth was flat, and truly flat, that would mean we were in a two-dimensional plane. Okay?
right,
Where there's no up and down, there's only left and right. Okay?
right.
Which means, I guess in a technical sense, you wouldn't move any other way than this. You wouldn't move
I mean, there
up
would be
and
an
down.
edge. There would be an edge.
And there would be an edge.
Yeah.
In a
Whereas-
two-dimensional, even if it wasn't an edge, it was an infinite thing.
Yeah.
There,
I mean,
in a
I kind of see
two-dimensional
like,
world. I don't think there would be oceans and things of that nature.
yeah.
And it's like we very clearly live in a three-dimensional world.
Yeah. I mean, and
But
we look at
it's
planets,
crazy thinking
planets
about
are
that.
clearly
Imagine what a
spherical.
fourth-dimensional world would be like.
Yeah.
What are the possibilities if we could fly planes and do all these other things in a third-dimensional world? In a fourth-dimensional world, who's to say people can't fly?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of crazy, dude.
I mean, I feel like a human maybe couldn't even exist in a fourth dimensional world. Maybe the fourth dimension is something like beyond the human, like the human body is like doesn't have the capacity
You feel that?
to.
I'm gonna go to the bathroom.
Okay.
You think
Yeah.
of some good ending content.
Okay. Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
And
We are
we'll
getting
find
to
an
the.
ending conversation. 'cause
We're at the hour
since.
mile. Yeah.
There's our ending cue.
Yep. All right.
You want to talk
Well,
about forming your own opinions
yeah.
as a food for thought for the end of the day.
Yeah.
Think about next time you read about something, hopefully you're reading,
Right.
or hear about something, instead of formulating an opinion immediately, do research on the matter. View it through separate eyes, to say, just to get a different perspective and open yourself up.
Yeah.
That's my food for thought for the end of the day.
Yeah. Okay, so I hope you all enjoyed the podcast, and
This has been
this has been
a wall of eyes.
This has been.
And I hope you guys have had your eyes to the wall.
Yep. Hope you keep your eyes peeled to the wall of eyes, and
Till next time.
I gotta get better at these outros. We gotta come up with some like elaborate.
That's
wall.
all, folks.
Some wall with eyes.
Just
puns.
walked off.
Okay.
We just got copyrighted.
Yep.
Yup.